Don't we all forget where we put the car keys every so often? But what happens when you can't remember what kind of a car you were driving, let alone where you parked it? Is that Alzheimer's, dementia, or an inevitable part of aging? When writer Cathryn Jakobson Ramin was faced with these particular questions, she went in search of the answers. Cathryn, you're an investigative journalist who started having what you consider to be disturbing bouts of forgetfulness. Tell us about your experience.
Well, Suzanne, I had been a magazine reporter for many years, and I'd taken a few years off to raise my 2 young sons. I was very excited about going back to work. When I got my first big assignment, I found that something really significant had changed. I was no longer able to weed through piles and piles of data, be able to synthesize information, manipulate it, work with it, and turn out a story in relatively short order. And I said to myself, what's going on here? I'm not old. I was in my early 40s at this point. And I thought to myself, you know what? I don't think I'm the only one. It's going to take some investigation, but I want to find out what's going on here.
In your quest for answers, you were given a physical, a PET scan, an MRI, and a neuropsych evaluation.
Fortunately, the PET scan and the MRI showed that there was no indication at all of any of the early signs of Alzheimer's disease. When my neuropsych evaluation came back, I was told that it was average, and right about the same time, I met a neuropsychologist, and he said that he would really like to do more extensive testing. So we went through 7 hours of testing and a whole lot of analysis. And in the end, he said to me that what he was seeing there was the kind of pattern that you see in someone who has had a mild traumatic head injury. I mean, his question to me was, have you had a head injury? And I said, absolutely not. I said, I've never been unconscious, so no. And he said, see, that's where you're wrong. He said, you do not need to be unconscious to have had a concussion. I have ridden horses most of my life. I've had many very serious falls. And as we started to track them back in time, we could see that there had been some changes in my cognitive abilities around the time of these head injuries. One of the things that he thought I might be able to do about it was to go to see a psychopharmacologist. So I did start taking the Adderall, and I noticed very big changes in my cognitive function. I was a lot sharper, my attention was a lot better. But I did not like the side effects of the drug. It made me fairly nervous. It took away affect. I wasn't very emotional. It made me a little bit cold. And then I began taking Provigil. And I found that my attention was greatly enhanced and that it was working well, did not have the side effects. But what I want people to really focus on is that the drugs are not the first answer. And they weren't for me either. The first thing you need to do is look at other aspects of your life. You need to look at sleep. Sleep is closely related to attention. And if you are shortchanging yourself on sleep, you also will have limited attention. You have to look at nutrition. I realized that the way I was eating was really not good enough. I was not getting enough antioxidants. I was not getting enough omega-3s. It's very important if you sense that you are having changes, significant changes in memory and also in attention, this is a good time to go get a full evaluation. Do that early assessment, that early diagnosis, and that early intervention, and that is going to make the difference.
Well, thanks so much for coming. Really enjoyed the things I've learned.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Suzanne.
I'm Suzanne Roberts, and I want to thank you for watching.